Fall is such an important time in the garden and landscape to ensure that our trees and shrubs make it through all the challenges ahead in wintertime. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about 5 simple but very important things that you can do to help ensure that happens. A simple but very effective step that you can take with your trees and shrubs to protect them over wintertime is to look them over for any dead, broken, or crossing branches. So let's talk about each of those individually. First of all, the dead branches. It kind of makes sense that a dead branch is going to fall eventually, and you don't want that to harm a person or an animal or your other plants and trees. So be on the lookout for those, because with the snow loads and the wind, they are going to come down. So proactively get out of those and take them out ahead of time. Now, I inspect my trees pretty actively, and I don't have anything dead at the moment, so there's nothing here to show you, but I do have a broken branch, and let's talk about that. Whenever you have a branch that's broken, whether it's on a tree or a shrub, you're exposing that to pest and disease issues that can get into that plant or tree or that limb and make it worse. And so you want to get that out of there. And you don't just cut it below the injury, you want to go ahead and take it back to wherever it comes out from the connecting stem. So for me, that's right there, and you just make your clean cut with a sharp pair of bypass pruners, and there you go. So that's taken care of, and that's the only broken branch that I see here. The other one I want to talk about are the crossing branches. And the crossing branches, you don't want that to happen because you've got 2 branches with tender bark that are rubbing against each other. And so either on both limbs or one limb, you're going to lose that bark, and that's going to expose it, again, for an opportunity for pests or diseases to get in there and cause worse damage potentially. So make a decision on which one you want to take out, and that's the one you're going to cut. So for me, here's an example up here. This one is not quite crossing yet, but it's about to. As it gets thicker and as the wind blows this into this branch, it's going to start rubbing right there. Not a serious issue yet, but you might as well take it out because that is imminent. And again, you make this cut. Let me come under here. I'll show you what I'm going to do. You follow it back to, again, where it meets the other branch. And with a good pair of sharp bypass pruners, you make that cut, and now you eliminate that risk. So look your trees and shrubs over and eliminate that, and that's a very important step that you can do that's easy and very effective. Next up, fall is a prime time for those deer roaming through your property, and I'm talking about the males, the bucks, to mark their territory, and they are looking for those smaller trees with a caliper of about 4 inches or less. So here is a dogwood that's prime territory for that, and it's already become a victim. Now this happened a couple years ago, but what happens is the buck comes along, it finds its perfect tree, it rubs its antlers against it, leaving it scent. Some of that fur from the antlers is coming off too, and that's extra marking territory material. And that's what happens. But the problem is, in the process, it damages the bark severely. And in this case, he stuck to this one side, didn't go all the way around, thank goodness, because if that had happened and they had scraped away the bark all the way around, this tree would have died. Bad enough though, this tree is half dead. This whole side doesn't produce or show anything like the other side. It probably should be cut down. But what you need to do, no matter what, is to protect this ahead of when they show up. So when you get to October, know that they're coming if deer are an issue in your area, and then find a way to wrap either something like this gauze, it looks like an ace bandage, and it's got a little bit of adhesive around the first part, and then you just go ahead and really right up to where the branching starts, and then just wrap around and work your way down, and then secure it at the bottom. Now, how strong is this against antlers? I'm not so sure because I don't use this, and I'm a little bit leery of trusting this, although it's marketed for this. So that's something that you could get at the box store. It's not expensive, and it provides some basic benefit. The thing that I like to do is a homemade version of something that's made for this purpose, and this is basically a trunk guard. But here's my problem with this. It's very, very rigid. So this doesn't even fit on here, and you would have to pull this really hard open, and it's not very giving at all. And then as the caliper of the tree gets bigger, if you leave this on, it makes it even harder to get this off. So what I like is something that's much more flexible, and this is just, you know, the irrigation piping that you attach to your downspout. This is great because you can slice through it easily with a hacksaw, and it's fairly forgiving to pull it open. And it doesn't do as much damage to the bark because you don't want these edges to really kind of saw against that bark. You want to avoid that damage as best you can. So cut a piece that's about the size of the trunk from where the branches begin all the way down to the base. Open it up, and then carefully apply it. Pull it as you go. Don't just force it on because those sharp edges can harm that bark. And there you go, that's on there. And this will last for years, but just be sure to take it off once the winter comes because the buck are no longer doing what they do. And then you want to open this back up to air and circulation and just how it would be without the protection. You won't need it after they have worked their way through your property. Now, deer are not threats to every tree and shrub in your garden, yet they still will graze on many of them, as will smaller critters, so you need to be ready for those as well. So even on the smaller trees and shrubs like this one right here, you need to provide a protective barrier around it. And the way that you do that is get some T-post, a minimum of 2 to provide some stability so that you can wrap some flexible fencing around it. Ideally 4 would be better if your budget allows or you have enough around your house already to do that. But if you're trying to economize, you can get by with 2, but you want to create a perimeter with that flexible fencing that's wide enough so that it's not all that easy to get in here to access the branches or the foliage on those branches. And so over the past several years, I've had this plant protected with this right here, and it's been very effective, even though I have lots of deer coming through here and smaller critters as well. This works very well for that, and it's easy to set up. And then you can take this down and reapply it anytime you want, anywhere you need it. Now, one of the most destructive critters that you'll never see is the vole. Now, the vole is the one that makes tiny little dime-sized holes around your root mass and goes in there and eats those roots. And you can literally come back one morning and your whole plant can be wilted. Now, this is very common with hostas, but it can happen to a lot of your prized shrubs, like your native azaleas, or this azalea right here, which I'm going to plant now. But what happens is they find a way to scurry along the surface or just underneath the mulch, and then they get in there right next to the base of your plants, and then they just have a feast and your plants die. It is so frustrating because you end up losing them, and it's very hard to control them. Now, the old school method of controlling them was to create some sort of cage around the root ball with something like hardware cloth, like this right here. So it works, but it's hard to work with. It's not very forgiving, and as you can see, it's just kind of awkward. But the thinking is you make a cage or a box around the root ball, encase the plant into the cage, plant the cage, and hopefully it will last a number of years and it will save your plant. It works, it's just not all that practical to do. Now, thank goodness for 21st century technology, because we have a new solution to an age-old problem that has plagued me and probably many of you too, and that is a stainless steel flexible mesh sack. So these come in different sizes. This is from a company called Mulching. I learned about it last year, but they have come up with this technology that allows you to, depending on the size of your root ball, buy a sack that is larger than the root ball to encase it in, and you plant the entire thing. And because it's stainless steel, it's not going to rust. You can't chew through this, so the voles will be very disappointed when they come upon your plant and they get to this. It's going to be very frustrating, but it's going to be very good for you because your plants are going to survive. And I've got some plants that I used this on 2 years ago in the fall, which is when they seem to be their worst, the voles that is, and I used this, and I haven't had any intrusions since then. So this has literally solved the problem for me, and I know for a fact because prior to using this, I had problems from fall through winter time into spring, losing a lot of those plants I spent all that time putting into the ground in fall, only to lose them to the voles because I didn't have any protection, and this has saved the day. Now I'll show you an alternative to this in just a second that's almost as easy, but let's focus on this for now because I'm going to use this in this hole with this azalea. Now this is roughly a 1 gallon plant. So this sack right here is designed to encase the root ball, just like it's doing here. And it's got enough room above it so that you can tuck it up around the top of the plant to provide some extra protection. So I just let the weight of the root ball nest down into the bottom of the sack like that right there. And I have all this extra on top, which is great because that's going to provide some protection up at the top. So if the vole were to come along, I'm going to push the soil on top such that it really holds all of this together. And if you wanted to kind of wire it together, you could. I've never done that. It hasn't been necessary for me. It hasn't been a problem. But if you feel like that would help you, go ahead and do it. Just don't leave it on so long that it girdles the trunk of the plant. You'll have to remove it at some point in the future. So that's the essence of how you do this, and then you can bring your soil back in and literally do your planting as you normally would. Cover up the stainless steel mesh sack, pouch, whatever you want to call it. And there is not a vole in town that's going to get through that. Now, once you get the mulch on top, you're not going to see any of that. So don't worry about it. I'd rather have it there than not. It's extra protection and you can hide it. Now, I told you about another alternative that you could do that's cheaper and easier. It's not as effective because it doesn't encase the root ball, but it does cover a wide span around the plant depending on how big you make the cut. And that is to use that hardware cloth, this stuff that I showed you right here that oftentimes was recommended to cage around the entire root ball. That would be better than what I'm about to show you. But a simple solution that helps a lot is to cut out a piece of that hardware cloth so that you can insert this around the base of the plant. And the way that I did that, I cut out my edges into the size that I wanted and then cut down the middle of one side, like I did right there, and then an opening for the trunk to fit into. So then you just kind of work it in here around the plant. Such that it's nicely tucked in there. Just like that. And that's pretty good protection right there. So even without the Vole King mesh pouch, if this were the only thing that you used, then you could put your soil on top of this and some mulch on top of that, and that is going to be a very effective barrier because this is going to be, for now at least, outside of that root area, and this will provide some good protection. So I don't have any more soil to put here, but I do have a lot of mulch, and so that's what I'm going to do. And that's also the last tip that I have for you today, the 5th of 5 things that you can do in the fall to protect your trees and shrubs. Now, mulch is important any time of the year for so many reasons, but in the winter time, coming into it, it helps keep your soil nice and warm, and it provides that protection along the surface to keep it from getting too hard. And in the winter time, when the temperatures are cold, that's a time where you have a lot of evaporation, where you're losing a lot of the moisture out of the soil. So this mulch is going to help you keep that moisture in. So I'll use this to cover up the soil and that barrier so you don't see it. And that's the best of both worlds. I've got my protection, I've got the mulch to keep the moisture in and keep the soil temperatures nice and warm. I'll water this in. You don't see the wire mesh at all. So it's a great solution, and this plant is protected, at least from the ground down. No doubt you've invested some valuable time and money into beautifying your landscape with your trees and shrubs, and you don't want to lose them overnight to some animal or critter that's hungry and causes that damage. And it happens. But by taking any of those 5 proactive steps to protecting your trees and shrubs over winter time, you'll be very happy that you took the effort, and it will pay big dividends for years to come.